Section 1 of Lady into Fox. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Natalie Myers. Lady into Fox by David Garnett. Section 1. Wonderful or supernatural events are not so uncommon. Rather, they are irregular in their incidence. Thus, there may be not one marvel to speak of in a century, and then often enough comes a plentiful crop of them. Monsters of all sorts swarm suddenly upon the earth, comets blaze in the sky, eclipses frighten nature, meteors fall and rain, while mermaids and sirens beguile, and sea serpents engulf every passing ship, and terrible cataclysms beset humanity. But the strange event which I shall here relate came alone, unsupported, without companions into a hostile world, and for that very reason claimed little of the general attention of mankind. For the sudden changing of Mrs. Tebrick into a vixen is an established fact which we may attempt to account for as we will. Certainly it is in the explanation of the fact, and the reconciling of it with our general notions, that we shall find most difficulty, and not in accepting for true a story which is so fully proved, and that not by one witness, but by a dozen, all respectable, and with no possibility of collusion between them. But here I will confine myself to an exact narrative of the event and all that followed on it. Yet I would not dissuade any of my readers from attempting an explanation of this seeming miracle, because up till now none has been found which is entirely satisfactory. What adds to the difficulty to my mind is that the metamorphosis occurred when Mrs. Tebrick was a full-grown woman, and that it happened suddenly in so short a space of time. The sprouting of a tail, the gradual extension of hair all over the body, the slow change of the whole anatomy by a process of growth, though it would have been monstrous, would not have been so difficult to reconcile to our ordinary conceptions, particularly had it happened in a young child. But here we have something very different. A grown lady is changed straightway into a fox. There is no explaining that away by any natural philosophy. The materialism of our age will not help us here. It is indeed a miracle, something from outside our world altogether, an event which we would willingly accept if we were to meet it invested with the authority of divine revelation in the Scriptures, but which we are not prepared to encounter almost in our time, happening in Oxfordshire amongst our neighbors. The only things which go any way towards an explanation of it are but guesswork, and I give them more because I would not conceal anything than because I think they are of any worth. Mrs. Tebrick's maiden name was certainly Fox, and it is possible that such a miracle happening before, the family may have gained their name as a sobriquet on that account. They were an ancient family, and have had their seat at Tangley Hall time out of mind. It is also true that there was a half-tame fox once upon a time chained up at Tangley Hall in the inner yard, and I have heard many speculative wiseacres in the public houses turn that to great account, though they could not but admit that there was never one there in Miss Sylvia's time. At first I was inclined to think that Sylvia Fox, having once hunted when she was a child of 10, and having been blooded, might furnish more of an explanation. It seems she took great fright or disgust at it, and vomited after it was done. But now I do not see that it has much bearing on the miracle itself, even though we know that after that she always spoke of the poor foxes when a hunt was stirring, and never rode to hounds till after her marriage, when her husband persuaded her to it. She was married in the year 1879 to Mr. Richard Tebrick after a short courtship, and went to live after their honeymoon at Rylands near Stoke-Oxon. One point, indeed, I have not been able to ascertain, and that is how they first became acquainted. Tangley Hall is over 30 miles from Stoke, and is extremely
Sample complete. Ready to continue?